Okay guys, Chatty CRC back with you here on the channel. Think this is video 5 here of the Reverb build series, and as you can see, everything is complete. This video is going to be more of a discussion about the Impulse RC Reverb. I hate using review and everything like that because, you know, I'm not a professional reviewer or whatever. I'm just a guy with a YouTube channel who has specific wants and needs and opinions, and I like to have good discussions about stuff. I like to educate and bring some ideas and perspectives to people. So let's start with the final pieces of the build. Of course, the coolest part is putting on this nice lipo guard here. Always feels good to peel that off. It's kind of like peeling off your iPhone screen, you know, when you get a new iPhone and you pull that tab off. Very satisfying. Now, as you can see, I am not using the antenna clips. I tried them, but I could not get the crossfire to cooperate the way that I wanted it to, so I ended up going with my usual L-shaped configuration out of the back here. So you get 3 different sizes of standoffs, because the thing about the Reverb is the back is higher than the front, the way the plates go together. So you get long standoffs, shorter ones, and then even shorter ones up here if you want to use the antenna mounts, or you can use the same size ones as these if you opt not to. Now, I will talk about these mounts. Everybody's seen them. They work as advertised. It's a little tricky to get everything in there and get your wires up through there and get the tubes in, but once you start to tighten down the screw, it really just slightly grabs on to that antenna tube, and you can pull this thing and shake it by the antenna tube. Won't come out. So if you're using a Free Sky receiver or something like that, you know, you're gonna love it. So that is pretty much it. The top plate, you know, went on and everything like that. The Brain 3D GoPro mount is awesome. I love how it actually screws into this center standoff right here with one of the cone washers, so it gets a really good grip. Man, this thing is like super tight. Like, it is so hard to get a GoPro in and out of it. It's ridiculous. So, which is a good thing because you don't want to lose your GoPro, but it's also a little inconvenient. So I'm working on trying to stretch that out a little bit. I haven't like done anything with heat or nothing because I really don't want to mess with it. But Brian, the Brain 3D's 3D prints just keep getting better and better and better. I mean, man, if I could 3D print just half as good as him, it would be amazing. And usually with like some of these 3D prints, like the one on my Martian I can show you, you know, when you really torque down on the screws, it really like smashes this stuff down and you don't really get a good bite. You're like constantly fighting it. Not with this mount. Goes on there perfect. If you haven't watched any of the build videos, we've got Multicopter Builder 2207 2450 kV motors here, which I love for my 5 inches and 6 inches right now. These are individual ESCs, of course, as you can see. They are Speedix 30 amp HVs. The Joshua Bardwell flight controller, everybody knows that. If you're watching the build series, Runcam Eagle 2, again, thank you for Impulse for providing us with awesome screws to go in there to really lock this thing in. It will work with, this plate will work with pretty much any camera that you have, as far as a 3-hole or the ones with the center hole and then the 2 posts in the back there. So that's really awesome. The hardware, good. Nothing stripped out or anything like that at all. Everything was great with the hardware. Props, these are just dowels. I will say that yes, I have flown this, and yes, it does fly good. I have not got to put a lot of packs through it yet, just because the weather has just been awful, as a lot of people may know, I've been running it strictly 5S, 1600 milliamp 5S pack, fits on there just fine with the 2 Velcro straps. These are 1300 5S China Hobby lines that fit on there just fine. Or, you know, something like your Pulse 4S 1350 fits on there perfectly. Let's talk about things that I had to change from the video series. So the first thing I had to change was where I put the Unify. You know, these designs being such a squashed design, and since I raised the stack up a little too high, well, even if I didn't, I don't like to have a lot of stuff attached to the top plate. I had the Unify up there, but I just didn't like it there. I had extra space down here, so I ended up putting the Unify underneath the flight controller. That way I could get my Velcro straps through there and not have any problems. So that's definitely something to watch out for. And as far as the Bardwell flight controller goes, the Unify actually had to end up running, it's Unify HV. I actually had to end up running it off of direct LiPo power, because whenever I would kick it into 800 milliwatts, it actually would turn off. Like, I don't know what it must have been, turning off the Unify or something. There just wasn't enough. The flight controller wasn't able to supply enough voltage or current or whatever to it. I don't know. So the other thing is with Crossfire, you know, I had to do this and do some rigmarole and all this kind of stuff with that and the antennas and zip ties and tubes and all that kind of stuff. I could have pretty much made it a lot simpler by just running an Immortal T out here and running that, but I find that I get just better signal and everything running them like this, so it's not that big of a deal. And I mean, this thing will get reworked and changed over a bunch of times anyway, so this is good enough for right now. Just some things to consider. You know, I never owned a premium 5-inch frame before. I've always had stuff, you know, decent stuff from Ready Made. I've had, you know, like an Occ 210, and I had their Valorum frames. I've had Vortexes, some ready to fly stuff, things like that. I never owned an actual Alien. Now, I do have a Martian 2, of course, but it's got all awesome components on it, and you know, the verdict's still out on this one here, even though I love the way it flies and everything, but I haven't got it tuned or anything yet. That Alien over there is still my best flyer. You know, I fly mild freestyle, mid-range, proximity, and I look for what's giving me the smoothest video. That's my goal. So easy build, smooth video. You know, time, power, all that stuff is just irrelevant to me, you know, and we all have a specific purpose. And that's kind of what I come back to with the Reverb is, what is your purpose? Are you looking for a ultralight freestyler? Well, this probably isn't it. If you are looking for an Alien replacement, I think Impulse and Chad have went online and said that this isn't meant to be an Alien replacement, even though I think it's a great replacement for the Alien. I mean, I've touched an Alien and seen one and everything else, an Alien frame, that is. And, you know, there's a ton of comparisons. The design, of course, is a little bit different, and they've made changes here and there. But, you know, it's basically an Alien 1.5 or 2.0 or whatever. And you can tell how it's awesome flying it, the geometry and the size. Everything does seem really tight and crisp, and it seems to really take a lot of tune so far. So in a nutshell, this kind of meets my needs. Really, there isn't a frame out there that meets my needs. Every frame that I get, I have to find a place to put the Crossfire. I have to find a way to route the wires or the Immortal T. I have to find a place with the VTX, and you have to rig up something with the antennas, you know, or add 3D printed mounts. I think the Mini Quad Club Fusion, did it right with adding the 3D printed parts to kind of sort out your antennas and everything like that. There's a few parts on Thingiverse already, and Brain 3D cells to make like antenna mounting and stuff like that a little bit more easier. So those are some options to definitely explore. TBS makes a frame that is like this, that thinks about how you're going to mount your Crossfire antennas, or really thinks about how you're mounting your VTX antennas. Then, I mean, everything's going to be kind of the same. If we look at my Martian over here, again, it's pretty much the same thing. It's just a little bit bigger. I've got the antennas out the back with zip ties and all this kind of stuff. There's just no right way to do it. You can see the size comparison there. The Martian's definitely a little bit bigger. It's taller. Amazingly, this thing only weighs, and I don't know where I really added the weight on this thing. I guess it would be, I don't know. I mean, it's just a lot beefier and heavier and thicker. Ready to go. It's over 400 grams, and I took the Velcro straps off of it. So without the Velcro, it's running 403. This one with everything, Velcro straps, 448. So, 35 grams. I mean, that's a lot. That's almost 10% reduction in weight. And you can feel it when you fly, but I think I'm actually feeling just the geometry. The components on here are just as good. I mean, it is an F3 board that's on here, but, I got the steel motors, same kind of props, same kind of ESCs. Same version of Betaflight, everything else like that. So, this is going to perform just as well, if not better than that, when it's all said and done, because there is a little bit of weight savings. So I'm pretty excited for the weather to warm up so I can get this thing tuned and see what it's capable of. Do I think it's anything special? Not really. Do I think it's a good value and a great frame? Sure, I do. I owned a Chameleon, and I know there's the Rooster that's out right now. I just wasn't a fan of those designs because there's even less room in there to work if you're trying to add different kind of equipment that just isn't like your standard all-in-one, 4-in-1 ESC, throw this in there, throw that in there, FrSky. Crossfire is really the thing that kind of messes up these builds now lately for me. Even with my 6-inch Tokyo XL, it was just really hard to find out what to do with it. So, it's really the kicker when it comes to having a frame design that meets your specific needs. So if you have a need for a premium 5-inch frame that will last and hold up and is from a good manufacturer, then the Reverb is definitely the way to go for that type of a need. If you're looking for the best 5-inch mid-range type of cruiser and everything like that, I can't really speak on that yet because I haven't got to put enough batteries through here to see. I do know that it takes a tune very well, so I'm definitely going to be able to get, I think, more aggressive with my mile away freestyle versus my Martian, but I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see. So we'll have those videos coming up soon when it warms up and I can start getting some batteries through this, show you guys what kind of video and range and everything I'm able to get out of it. But I'm pretty excited and happy with it. The form factor, it's funny. It's funny that it only weighs 30 grams less than that, but it's just feels so much smaller yet just stronger. I mean, the carbon fiber and how everything fits together and the hardware and everything, it just feels, you know, it's a good quality product, which is what we want when we spend money on this stuff. We want it to last and everything like that. Yeah, type of flying I do, I'm not that crazy and aggressive, so I don't really break a lot of stuff anyway, so I can't really say, well, that carbon fiber's junk and it breaks all the time, because I haven't did that. So that's pretty much going to do it, guys, for the build series. Let me know if you have any questions or comments or anything like that, or if there's anything more in detail you would like me to go over. But just keep an eye on the channel and stick around for like the tuning videos and everything. And this thing should be pretty easy to tune. I've messed around with it a little bit already, and I think it's going to be a couple battery packs and everything should be locked right in, and then it'll just be time to rip and roar. So we'll see you guys later.